there?
9%.
No,
with
4%. Is there?
Overall is 9%.
But wait, it's on administration, the first page, 43.
Page, it's shown on
Look at
page 46.
No, okay.
Look at
So it's
101
on,
and 46.
I have page 46, but I was doing
Look
it by
at, look
page.
at 101, you got two new
Oh,
salaries.
God,
in there.
okay. It's a little bit confusing, guys. It's not, okay. So 43, okay, my question with 43, so are you getting, the assistant director, you have two. Where is that for finance? Isn't it one? Or you have two, you budget two?
You had one in finance.
And then one in UB. Okay, that's where the assistant director, that's where that would be. Okay. Do you need that?
I mean, operationally,
Mm-hmm.
we, obviously, at the time, we operated, we had a lot of cleaning up to do.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think you guys know, billing was behind, we've gotten all of those issues dealt with, but as you
I'm not advocating for cutting, I'm just
Okay.
saying, do you need it? Right now.
Right now,
the-
it's there, it's there.
Okay,
to
it's
be-
there, gotcha, okay, no problem. Okay, 40, was it 40? It wasn't 46, okay. Okay, let me go right here. Okay, 43, 46, we dealt with. The next one is 49. 49, it's about the auditing. These are big numbers. Is that the average, the financial, you got almost $200,000.
Yep, so for the financial audit, the single audit, federal and state, those are what we have in the contract. The 75 in the internal audit, that was something that we are statutorily, the board, the council approved a contract for us to have internal audit services.
Every year?
Yes, you approved it a couple of years ago.
Okay,
Or actually, probably about 6 months after I got here. It is a statutory requirement, so our total audit costs as a city with the level of activity we have is, I would say, pretty standard. Because you're talking about, you're looking at 187,000, but our total budget, when you look at enterprise and everything, is well in excess of $100 million. So you're talking
So that's
a
fine.
1% for audit costs
okay.
in general, and risky areas, enterprise fund and shifting and all that stuff. So
That
the other
include
thing
the
is
coffer?
important. It was
That
also
include
noted,
the coffer?
huh?
The 188 include the coffer?
Yeah, the CAFR is in the 188. The other thing is, remember in the state audit that was issued, we were reminded to make sure that we had internal audit. So that was the big addition that we had. So
Okay. UB. So you have 23 employees on page 56 is one of my, where you have 23 employees, the assistant, the supervisor, and then the utility supervisor, and then you have all of these,
the account clerk.
the account clerks and the reader, the meter reader, the 1 and 2, is that still needed?
Absolutely. And remember, this is covered by the utility fund. Although you see it in the general, in the presentation, this cost is covered 100% by the,
Okay. City attorney.
the enterprise
But
fund.
about that, you have an increase of 1% and you add a assistant finance director. But as far as customer service, we keep receiving the same complaints. Why is that? Nothing have changed. Talking about utility finance is the same thing, right? Yep, it is. But we still have the same complaints every day about customer service.
Well,
Nothing have been changed from.
A couple things, I'm not gonna, I wanna be careful of the words I choose. I don't want you guys to impugn the reputation of
Yes.
these folks that are working, cause
Absolutely.
Listen, you're here to defend your employees.
Right.
I'm here to defend the residents.
And I'm gonna
They
do
are
both.
complaining you're not.
Well, you
I'm
didn't let me
complaining
finish.
It's every single day.
Can I finish? Can I finish my statement?
Mm-hmm.
All I was simply saying is, we have had some issues with some individual employees. And in those cases, we've taken swift action and they have been terminated. We have spent a lot of time doing customer service training with the UB staff. So it is a ongoing process. So I agree, every time we get a complaint about, from a resident, trust me, myself and the deputy go down there and we're very present because we understand that window is the face of the city. Is the largest reason why we're moving, and we created, with your permission, the whole customer service hub across the street, which hopefully will be open in like 2 weeks. So they'd have a better environment to come in, they can sit
Who's gonna
down and be
supervise
serviced.
them over there?
It'll
Will it be-
it'll just be shifted. It'll still be no change in supervision,
Okay.
so that we can enhance the customer service experience that we're having. Keep in mind, a good percentage of the time, people are coming there with a problem, so it's already an escalated situation, and we're trying to teach the employees how to
Yeah, but understand,
effectively.
you spend a lot of money to fix that.
We're
thing,
not-
and it's been years.
Well,
we haven't
before
seen
I
any
got here,
improvements.
the bills were 6-8 months behind,
Talking
or a
about
year
bill-
behind,
just
and
bill,
we've
we're talking
been.
about customer service,
Right.
when people show up at the door, and the way customer service handle the residents, it's like they're not working for the resident, they're just working for
Well,
you.
like I said, the times we've had it, you can go check the track record. When we've had those situations, we've nipped it in the bud. I've had the attorney come report something to me that he saw, and that person was let go immediately.
Can
So,
Mr. Manager, yeah, I'm not really, I don't even know who's where. That, my concern is the overall objective of this. Okay, so manager, the attorney went down a little bit, that's fine. Personnel, it increased, 8%. Where is that? Because, and I also see the grade pay kinda, increasing, so.
It's across the board. There's a big credence
Yeah,
everywhere.
so, well, specifically, because I saw the increase, the percentage and changes, so what's happening there?
that is, I think we had we have our employee wellness program that has some additional costs, as well as as Councilman Bename said,
Can you explain me that wellness program?
Can
Yeah,
we-
in the meantime,
you
yeah.
are in-
Wait, yeah. How come people are working, they have 1 hour breaks, and they still have 3 hours yoga and things like that? Are they
no,
working-
everybody,
Are they doing?
no,
is it
everybody's
better?
working their full shifts. If you, go to a number of corporations, entities around the United States and the world, wellness is a programmatic thing that is used to help us reduce our overall healthcare costs. Our wellness coordinator, along with our HR director, they analyze I have to be careful, Dr. Smith, because of HIPAA. They're analyzing the state of our employees. Like, if there's, without names being said, we have 50 people that have diabetes that were being treated. So they're trying to institute programming that will help those employees address those chronic illness issues, which ultimately is reducing our overall healthcare costs.
And
So
does
trying
that
to-
reflect the service they are providing to the residents?
Well, I'm trying to, via wellness, we're trying to reduce the cost to the residents. So if we have a healthier workforce, the best example I can give you, Jackson Healthcare, Jackson Health Systems. If you are a smoker, you can't work there. They won't hire you.
Yeah, but
You know.
we understand that, but having 2 hours a day,
They don't,
yoga one day,
nope,
and they have to leave work for 1 hour for
Again-
Zumba, and they have to come back after 2-3 hours.
no,
It's a
no,
joke
no,
sometimes.
no. I don't know who's giving you that information is being
But they get
characterized.
paid. Okay. Listen, doing work hour, that's what I'm talking about.
There is
They have
again,
yoga
once
at
a week
12,
yoga
they have
class
Zumba at
that's,
4. It's 2
that's-
hours, and they have another hour breaks. They have 4 15 minutes breaks. It's half day.
they're taking those classes are available during their lunch hour and after work. Every
you- that
employee
still
who
take lunch.
participates,
Well, you,
every employee who
that's when you've been to
participates
s-
works their
you've been
full
to
8
stay
hours.
downstairs and you,
Can I go on?
no, but that's
Okay.
extremely important that,
But you guys need
that
to meet.
wellness. You're doing that when that wellness
No, no,
thing.
I know, but when you guys have your meeting,
But I don't want you to talk about that
That-
just
yeah.
because whoever's in charge of the wellness, that's the one that I'm attacking. That's not what I'm doing. I'm
I
talking about the
understand your,
employees.
no, I understand your query.
Yeah,
I'm
because
explaining.
At 12 o'clock, at 4 o'clock, at 6 o'clock, at 6 in the morning, they're biking. You have a bike right now from here to the police department one day, and you can see at 12 o'clock, people take 1 hour to dress, another 2 hours to. Man,
can I,
that's a joke.
Mr. Manager, help me understand. Okay, I was asking my question overall. I gotta reclaim my time.
And they spend another 2 hours at Publix.
I gotta reclaiming my time, sir.
All right, Congresswoman, go ahead.
There you go.
We have the entire night.
I know. Yes, Mr. Mayor. Number 7-3. Yeah, you need cookies. This is the meeting that you, Mr. Manager, this is the meeting where you should have had dinner for us because we're gonna be here a while. You have cookies? I don't need cookies. Okay,
Don't forget the special council meeting we have on CBOs to immediately follow this meeting.
no.
Yeah.
No, really, no, Councilman, don't
Yeah.
joke with people.
Wait a second. I
you
told you
serious?
so.
Oh, Lord.
About what? We have another meeting?
Yeah, we have another
did you-
meeting after
Right.
this.
About what?
I don't think it's fair to the CBO because it's gonna be until a while. But anyhow,
What?
we should have done that first. But anyhow, Mr. Manager, okay, going back to this. So the increase of 8.2%, where is that? Because I know they didn't add any
That's not
staff.
what it is. They increase the whole budget for employees only.
No, but there's other department that went
The
down.
personnel
Yes,
budget,
sir.
it only went up
down.
$60,000 from
From
last
where?
year.
Where
From
is
last
that?
year's adopted
I
number,
understand. I'm saying what that 60,000 is for.
the wellness program.
Oh, okay. So that's what increased it. It's not promotion, it's not everybody across the board. Okay, all right.
Yeah, but they still increase. What they did, they cut the operation and they give people raise. That's what it is.
No, but
Less
he said it's
service to the
wellness.
rest. It's less service to the people.
Oh,
He said that in his presentation. You have to cut operation. That's how we get to balance the budget.
all right. Page
Everybody gets an
87.
increase.
There's also an increase of 9.7. So across the board, what's going on IT?
IT is went up 8% due to the centralization of communication. So before,
What communication?
communication devices, so before every department, they would budget for their own cell phones and communication. And to centralize that, it went to IT.
So when they did that, did we take money from the other departments?
Right, so you'll see like small amounts cut from CP&D, from Public Works, from budget, and then it went up in IT's budget by about 100,000.
Right,
Yes.
how much?
At the same
100,000?
time,
8%.
but
What-
at the same time, did you remove departments or services from IT to other departments, like the city manager's department? If it was like that, it would be a bigger
No,
increase.
there was nothing removed from IT, no. The prior year, there was, but not this year.
Yeah, but that's what it is. Did you remove the graphic design from IT
Yeah.
to the city managers?
And in the FY18 budget, there was, right, there was
Oh, you
4
mean since
employees
last year?
moved to the manager's
4?
office. Right. The graphic designer, like you mentioned, the webmaster, so maybe just 2. There was several. I'd
Even
have
though
to-
the removal of those 4 employees give you an increase of 9% in IT?
No.
Well, that wouldn't be reflected in the financial plan in front of you. That's last year's. And what's in front of you, we're talking about 8% increase. And that was communications.
Can I go?
Mhm.
Okay, police. Well, you know my concern with these 16 officers for Solemia.
Nothing
The
for
title?
personnel, city attorney.
The other concern, well, I think you say you're working on the distribution list, where you would be coming, but there's 11% increase. What is that reflecting in the police department?
in police, that has to do with the pension.
Mm-hmm,
So pension went up. There's
okay.
Yeah, but
But that's not
How
the $500,000 for these new officers?
it's 1 million.
That's also,
It's 1 million?
1 million benefits is over $1 million when you add that. But the problem, you
But-
still have the increase of 11%, and you remove 70%. You remove code. That's when the code was still.
code was removed 3 budget seasons ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
On page 110, when, okay, so that's the reimbursement, okay, the item number 301, but just kind of skip that over to the supplementals for the police. I just need some explanation on page 114 and 115, as well as 116. So 114 through 116. And
Well-
let me ask the chief also about the Coast Guard office, not Coast Guard, are they Coast Guard?
Coast Guard, the Marines.
The community, what's that position I've been fighting ever since I got up here? That they
Community
took off when
policing.
that man
Crime Watch
left?
Coordinator.
Yes, sir. Did you put that in there, sir?
We did put that in there.
Oh, okay, wait, okay. Okay, sir. Okay, so, page 114.
The police department, they requested that position, Councilman, but
Which
it was not
position were you talking
the
about?
Crime Watch Coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
They requested it, the chief's correct, but it was not funded.
Okay, y'all gonna have to fund it, because y'all not gonna sit here and give me 16 officers and for a crime watch officer. Here's the problem with this budget. When you look at it, you don't see nothing for the community. So I want the administration to tell me, looking at this 100 or whatever $1 million budget, what is there for the average residents who's paying taxes in this city? Well, don't all jump in at once, just, I'm saying, because when I look at this, yes,
Only
sir.
the
We didn't, like you said, we didn't get our chance to sit down, so I can get
Okay,
your priorities, so.
I understand.
What I
Okay,
prefer,
sir.
again, is if you
Well,
continue through
let's
your
go-
list.
okay.
And then we can
No
address
problem.
those issues.
Thank you. But, so he requested they remove, so why did you keep, so who made the decision of who to remove what? So why you kept the 16 officers if you were removing? Oh, did you remove, Mr. Manager?
No, I didn't address the Crime Watch.
So how did he
Specifically-
remove that, though?
Remember, our
Mr.
budget director is charged with, his job is to go through that process.
Let me ask him, so why you didn't remove the 16 or say, well, maybe you don't need
Because
16?
the manager, I met with the chief, and these were things, because we know this area is coming online. The same way I told the chief, we need to make sure we had additional patrol clearly in the budget. So those were the two things I made sure that were in there. The item that you want considered, just provide it to us, and we'll work.
Yeah, but because ever since I'm here, when Mr. Weinstein, he would go out in the neighborhood meetings, and that's the only little thing that the community, they will get the police, they will get folks to come and talk about Crime Watch, little thing that the residents who's really paying, they'll get someone. So I would think, anybody would think, oh, you know what, that's important, because that's, besides community policing, that's somebody directly going to the homeowners, talking and dealing with whatever the chief assigned that person. I would assume that's, oh, that's important, but that's been gone. So, yes, sir, the supplemental.
Larry Juriga, Chief of Police, you're referring to the supplemental regarding the 2 grant police officers?
He wants to
Yes.
walk him through all.
All of them,
on
yeah.
114?
Yes, yes, sir.
114, this is, we're gonna have to pay this through February 28th of 2019. This is a grant a grant that we received for 2 additional police officers from the Department of Justice Cops Hiring Grant. So through 2019, we're gonna have to pay it. Then we have to pay it for another year, the complete salary for another year through February 20th of 2020.
And that would be coming from us.
Correct.
So the
full
grant,
salary.
the grant is the 450? The 454 is the grant?
Grants the 454.
Okay, and then we do the the 2 years after.
I'm sorry, the grant's the 250 and then the 204,
Ew. I see. So,
and then we have to pay the full amount the following year.
wait a minute. Okay, looking at this, so 1819 is 206.
So-
Am I looking at the right thing? Okay, let me look at the total. Yeah, the
That's correct.
1819
That's correct. That's
is
correct.
206, okay. So but the grant amount is 250. So assuming that we are using a portion of the grant to pay the 206, so we
No,
have about
no, no, no,
41.
no,
The grant's prior year.
Oh. Okay, so the grant was prior.
Yeah, so just so and you may recall, with the COPS grants
Reverse
program,
Mm-hmm.
the Department of Justice gives us money to hire the officer, get the equipment. We have to pledge I think it's usually it's a 3 or 4 year.
matching fund?
matching, from the city. The way the grant program works, they give us this money up front to hire, so they're doing it, and over the years, our contribution comes down. After the grant period is over, we are legally required to carry that officer for an additional year, at the general fund, and then we technically could let them go if we didn't have the
Okay,
resources.
that was my next question. So 2020 is when we need to decide what we're gonna do or where we're gonna. 20, so it's not in this budget yet? No. Okay, I see. All right, thank you. Next,
A quick question
115.
about the police. You have 2 officers for community policing for the schools, right?
We have 2 that are in the budget, but they're not, we have other officers working the schools now. One of our community police officers is dealing directly with PAL, and the others working our other COPS officers are working in each of the districts.
Okay, what about those 2 for the school board? Are you
School
hiring,
board?
among those 16 officers, new officers, are you gonna put 2 at the schools?
No, we currently have 7 working all 7 elementary schools since March of this year, and then from the start of
When you
this,
said 7, inside the school?
inside every day school is open, we have 7 officers assigned to
Our
them.
officers?
North Miami police officers, yes, sir.
7?
7.
Jesus.
Oh, I didn't know it's on every schools.
What the?
Yeah.
Every
what's-
elementary school in the city of North Miami.
Or every elementary schools?
Public elementary school, yes, sir.
So does
In
the,
the feeder pattern or in the city?
In the city.
in the
But you
city?
don't have 7 elementary schools?
We do, sir.
Yes, we do.
Oh,
That includes K-8s probably.
The
K8s,
Franklin
yeah.
K-8, David Lawrence
K8.
K-8.
and
That-
okay.
Not the charter schools, oh, yes.
No, sir. We visited with the charter schools and did their security surveys for them.
Okay, yeah, we need to help them out. But
You do
7, so what
service
does school
at
board have?
Gratney?
Sir?
Gratney?
No.
Okay.
So Chief, what does the the school board have?
Well, you know,
Uh,
we had
s-
that big
state-
meeting where they pretty much ask,
They have nothing?
they ask every,
Based on the-
every
Oh,
department to kind of-
Let me ask you this, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Attorney. Is that the thing that was approved, not Mr. Attorney, I'm sorry,
By
Mr.,
the school board?
that was approved by Dr. Gallen, that they're gonna give us some money back? They're gonna reimburse us?
Correct. Approximately $35,000 per school, per officer.
Oh,
but
okay. When is that? That's coming next year?
No, that should
this
be coming,
budget.
that should be coming through this year.
Oh, okay, good. Okay,
However, the cost is much more than that for
okay.
us.
Going back, page 115.
115?
Yeah, 115.
No, but we
15 is the item we discussed that we're gonna meet with the manager on for
Oh,
distributing,
yes, yes, we
allocating.
will meet on that. Okay, 116.
We hit on 116 as well. That's the
Yeah,
addition.
we say tomorrow we'll meet on 115, and 116, okay, thank you, Chief. But that officer, that, what they call it, community, that's important. And that yeah, we got the little kids breaking houses and then we talking about hiring, so that's
Yeah, but the
important.
question, just a quick question, a safety questions. I thought you have more trouble in the high schools than just the elementary school, no?
Miami-Dade School Police is covering the high schools
high
and
schools.
the middle schools. They just don't have the resources, although it's their jurisdiction. They don't have the resources to cover it, and we didn't want to leave
We
the
got
schools
it.
vacant.
Which is good, but we should look at a plan for the charter schools. Page, and I'm trying to speed it
Can I
up.
break in for a second? Do we have,
Absolutely.
we have officers assigned for the library outside the high school?
We do have an officer assigned every day that the students are in school outside the library from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. in addition to the new security guard there.
So from the new 16 we just got at Solomia, can one of those officers do
We
the
haven't
David
gotten
Morris?
anything from Solomia yet.
Well, we have it's a Solomia area, so can we use one of those officers over
If you go
there for the,
budget,
school?
You're not gonna remove it.
I did that thing. Someone know I remember.
I'm trying to,
I'll talk with the chief and see if we could, apply that. But the reality of the situation is the officer's already been there, it's already been working. We have the security, so with regards to the library coverage between the high school and the library, I think we're fine.
I'm just saying now that we have 16 new we will be
Well,
having 16 new officers
you
over there.
know,
Maybe
we're-
one of those
we're-
can go to the school over
I don't
there.
even know if I should say this or not, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Even with, if we get to a point where you choose to budget 25, 30, or 10, the chief will tell you, still have vacancies in the police, and there's a run on police officers nationally. So we're gonna have to recruit our aides off to try to get those positions filled and implemented, even with the budget. You have City of Atlanta is advertising on Miami radio with billboards, trying to recruit officers in another state.
Yeah, but
here in
everybody-
Miami.
Everybody wants to be one of North
But-
Miami's finest.
I agree, but, so,
If they change the hiring practices, that's another issue.
so,
Mr. Manager.
but we'll look at it.
CPND. There's a couple of things there. 166, well, starting with 159, but 166 with CPND. There's a couple of things, I will talk to you about it privately tomorrow, but on page 66, 166, I'm sorry, yeah, you're correct. I don't even want to mention it, so we'll talk about that, tomorrow. And I even have the item number that I want to discuss, 169. 169, I'll have this list tomorrow, but 169, I'm very concerned about 101, and we're gonna talk about 101. Okay? Because that's the community page, and I don't know, I thought this was gonna separate.
I'm gonna have to do that, but I was gonna, work with the city attorney's office, because we'll have to, I think we may have to do a resolution to create,
But this was since last
Another
year.
department.
We thought
but
it
I
was
wanted to
gonna
make sure it
happen.
was,
Okay.
the funding was there.
All right, so, public, okay, the governmental, we already discussed. Public Works. Public Works, I see the decrease, there's some stuff that I'll talk to you in reference to Public Works, because I'm very concerned when it comes to specific items, on page 171, that's the overall.
Can I say something about public works?
Go ahead, go ahead,
Yes,
go ahead.
sir. Mr. City Manager, it's not just
one I
public
have now.
works, it's, all the other departments, in the city. It's like you feel assistant director, you feel you have you have managers all over, assistant all over, and Derek and Public Works or Park and Rec, they're still complaining there is not enough people on the street to clean up the medians. It's not Derek that told me that, it's not the director. You keep putting directors, assistant, you keep give them paid increase. But when it come to the street, there is not enough people on the street. Can you answer that?
I've personally been working, on two things. One, the restructuring of, right-of-way maintenance citywide from parks to public works. So that's been the first step. Step two, we did,
But we've been doing that years.
Sir,
Every day you
sir,
move
you-
it
you
from
never-
one.
you-
But you move it 2 times already.
no, I did not.
Yes.
Actually,
You
no,
all,
I did not.
oh, this guy, what's his name?
I don't know who that
sorry.
guy is.
Arthur Sorry. You moved from park.
No, I did not. No, I did not.
Did we? How many times we move it?
You
since I've
said
been
me.
here?
It was prior to the sitting manager being here that we did move it. Yes.
From where to where?
From parks to
Public Works, and
and-
you take it from Public Works,
Take it
move
back.
it back. That's what we've been doing.
So
for the
if you
past
go
5
to,
years.
if you go and do some research, cities around the country, right-of-way maintenance does not belong in the Parks Department. They need to be focused on recreation and programming.
Yes.
The,
Okay, you
So-
know what?
And not
It's not,
events.
okay, we're not
But
talking
we need
about.
an event
Listen,
department.
we're
No.
not talking about, we're not
Okay.
talking about reallocation. Wait.
no, okay,
Whether you move it from Parks to Public Works is still two people.
that's why I want to finish my statement, sir.
It's been 2 years since I've been asking them. No
He asked for an
service.
answer.
That's what. But the budget is there. You just.
Can you let me
You
answer?
fill all the assistant directors' position. You add managers everywhere. We still have no people to clean up the street and fix the median and clean up the median, whether it's Public Works or Park Department.
Can I-
Whether you move it from Parks to Public Works or from Public Works to Park, we're still gonna have the same result. Are you gonna hire more people?
Sir, please let me answer. Please.
Okay, go ahead.
As part of my process in actually analyzing the department, what I realized was the crew that you're complaining about that there's not enough of, they're all on light duty or FMLA. So I've been working with HR to try to figure out a short-term plan to fund the positions because we still have to legally keep these people employed. That's what I was trying to get to. So that's why it's not as many bodies there, because they can't do the work. They can't
But
physically do the
All
work.
of them?
No, it's about 80% of the guys that work
How
that
did that
that crew.
happen? Is that, are we looking at, no, are we investigating that?
Yes, we are.
Okay, that's all I needed to know.
And
Okay,
I don't
thank
want to
you.
go
80%?
any
No,
further.
you don't want to
than
go
that.
any further.
You said
Mr.
80%?
Councilman, you're gonna have your time, but,
No, but that's important.
no, I know it is,
You
but
said
save it
80%
for your
80%
time.
of the people on that crew are on
Let's leave
light
it.
duty or FMLA.
I got you. You want a pen to write it down? So that you won't, okay, page 196. City Hall, and it's $70,000 for the facility and operation. What is that?
That's the electricity.
196.
That's the electricity
Oh, that's
cost.
FP&L?
Yes, FP&L.
No, but it has, so 65,000?
The $65,000
is
is the
FP&L.
FP&L bill for the city, yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I didn't know we paid them. I thought we had an agreement. Where they could- Okay, but, okay, I see the insurance, City Hall, bathroom rehab. What the blank is that? $65,000. Close. What bathroom are we, all of them look good. I'm on 197. These are the little things that when I'm not looking, when they cutting out, and Mr. Terry, you should have cut that one out too. Because if you cutting out a crime watch coordinator for the residents and you fixing up the bathroom, there's an issue here. All full bathroom, there's nothing wrong with the bathrooms. Item number 329.
Yes, the actual the first floor bathroom and the second floor bathroom are a great need of repair.
This bathroom that we go to,
Yeah.
what's
They're
wrong with
really,
it?
well, they're,
Because they never been to Claude Pepper Park bathroom.
Yeah, I mean,
That's the thing, we can eliminate, this is what we can do. We
That's
can
what I'm
say,
saying.
Take that
We need to-
$63,000 and move it to
but
something
not only that, Councilman, they're gonna need more than that because I'm a fight
let me
tooth and
also
nail
say,
about this water
through
bill
the
increase.
manager, Councilman, this money is also, it does say for air conditioning as well. The air conditioner on the fourth floor is completely broken. It goes in and out every
broken?
week. It's been broken. So we're gonna have to replace the complete air conditioner on the fourth floor as well as the
All
air
right,
conditioner, I believe, on the first
Mr.
floor.
Manager, like I said, I don't know where you're gonna get $750,000 from, but I'm gonna be fighting because I don't think the people need to be paying nothing, not a dime. In fact, we need to try to decrease their stuff because looking at this, there's nothing in here for the residents. One custodian. Why we have a custodian when don't we hire a service? Is that this service, the service that we hire?
The custodian, we have a custodian that opens the building and opens and locks all of the buildings throughout this,
But that's
throughout
one
this
of our
city hall.
employee.
That's our employee. He comes
Okay.
in the
Yeah,
afternoon and he's
that's
here at night
fine.
with the
No,
cleaning
no,
crew.
no, that's fine, I didn't know, okay. And most of these have a vehicle maintenance. Aren't we the people who fix the car?
Yes, this money is a interfund or internal service fund. So the amount to run fleet, to provide gas, maintenance, the mechanics, and everything at the motor pool is all funded by each department. Each department pays their share into the internal service fund.
And I've been saying
that-
this for
yes.
years. We need to just know how much it is, and we put that one where, because when you look at each little item, it kind of
Well,
questions.
it used to be that way, sir, and
then
it was changed because
Okay.
people wanted to see what actually each department
Okay.
does use.
Makes sense. Got it. Okay. Is that budget that's so small? Oh. Budget is small. I didn't have anything in budget. I go into Parks and Rec. There's a couple of items here. Some of them we're gonna discuss, Mr. Manager, but some, we need to look at closely. There's 51, okay, that number. You said something I applaud, although the department is going down, but there are some, it's shifting resources again. There are, I like the focus of recreation and providing community stuff, but we could discuss that as we move forward. However, there are page 211. Is it 20? Yeah, 205 actually. There's something on 205. Okay, that's the overall budget. After 205 is 211. What is this 312 educational programming?
The educational program, and that's our LIT program
But
that we
should
run during
be-
the summer.
That's under the wrong department though.
Well,
It
we
needs to be moved though. That's not, if they doing recreation and stuff, so that's, the CPND, that's where that thing should be.
okay, but that's what that cost is. That's
Okay.
for the LIT program that we run with the YLB program
But
every year.
But that should be.
I understand what you're saying, sir. Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes,
If it's
it'll
the
be moved.
LIT,
Yes.
whatever, and YOB, it should be under, the proper department. That's just, I don't think that needs to get into recreation. But we've been talking about, they'll move it, okay, because we've been talking about that. I'm almost done, Mr. Mayor. 219,
But I have something for you in your department. Do we need, Ben Franklin, do we need 2 recreation specialists?
I'm gonna get there. Oh, we gonna get there.
Just for a
We're gonna
soccer
get there.
court?
I have all of them. Oh, trust me. There are some real concern, and I believe it's a lot of cut and paste from the previous years. You guys really did not sit and look at these things and review, because I know I had some complaints, and you and I, we had several meetings regarding the parks and the maintenance of the parks and what's going on. So we need to look at this. They have 100 part-time employees. We need to look at where we could cut that and see if we could provide the same services. That's number one. Number two, let's look at, he mentioned Ben Franklin. And I want to mention, first, okay. You got Pepper Park, you got Cagney, and I'm not looking at salaries, I'm not looking at anything else. All of these parks, they don't even have a building. Ben Franklin building, that should be teared down and put something up. Like, it's like a doghouse, excuse my expression. But if we've been there, the water fountain, so what's the cost? Is it the body that's there, or why is it that high?
The cost is for the body as well as the.
We have one rec person, right?
Slow down.
Not 2?
It's one. One rec person at these parks, correct?
Yeah, it's for
Okay.
the full-time person, the part-time individuals that are there.
But
Yes, sir.
that's my question. If that should only be the rec person salary, I thought, I just saw a line item that's 100 people for parks. So why are they repeating themselves again? Those are not that people?
The 100. I get.
That's the confusing part.
Where do you see 100 people, sir? for
Okay.
the-
Maybe, that's what I said, there's a lot of editing when Vice Mayor Key said this. If you look at page, let me give you the overview. I believe it's page 207, no, it's not 207, it's at the beginning of this page. I'm gonna show you. Okay, this, 214, to provide administrative support, leadership, supervision, and direction for 25 full-time staff and over 100 part-time employees responsible for the city's recreation program, services, and facilities.
Yeah, that's 461, which is the.
Uh-huh. That's
it- it's-
461.
Yes, it's saying this, for the whole entire department,
Exactly.
they have over 100 part-time
Which is
employees,
fine.
yes.
That was my
Yes.
question is then, why is, like Ben Franklin, Cagney, and all those parks, why are we charging the part-time that works there again?
No, it's budgeted separately. It's not budgeted here.
It's not budgeted.
Yeah, because it's only 230,000 right there. However, when you go to the actual Ben Franklin, it has a
Yes.
list of number of hours that's required to run the
That's-
park.
That is an objective statement. That's not a, that's kind of an overall, this is the objective of the department.
I wouldn't put any numbers, Mr. Manager, if
Okay.
you overall, I would say several, because when you say
No,
that.
I got, when you,
You
if
see
you
what I'm
read it, you see
saying?
the number next to it and you're like, okay.
Okay, so, again, so, so for one person, at the park is getting that amount of money, and I don't even want to say it. One person?
At Ben Franklin?
All of them.
Why don't we have any staff at the Keystone Center? We have Social
Yeah.
Security there, but there's no staff.
There
except
should
for-
be, because, they
you have a
moved
couple
somebody from,
part-time.
no, there should be a full-time there, because they moved somebody
I believe
from
there is a
Pepper over there.
full-time individual there.
So it's not added here.
Yes.
So we don't have it budgeted.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
Derek Corker, Director of Parks and Recreation.
I didn't-
There is, to answer the first question that you regarded with Keystone, Vice
No, I didn't
Mayor,
ask like you.
Vice
I
Mayor,
did.
there is a staff there. We had a full-time staff member move there. She's a rec leader 1. She's working there Monday through Friday, from noon to 9 p.m. So she helps close up the facility, and is also a staff member in the morning. He is there from 8 to noon, and then he leaves there and goes over to the stadium to help close up the stadium in the evenings
So
with
she's not on the
part-timers.
budget on this 465.
Correct, because the move, she was currently at Pepper Park,
Yeah, y'all stole her from
and
Pepper
we
Park to over
moved
there.
her from Pepper Park to Keystone. So
So
she
should-
does not appear on your
Then
Keystone
they need to
budget.
put her in.
She
shouldn't
doesn't
she
appear
be-
on your Keystone budget at
Shouldn't
this
she be
time.
put on the
She
Keystone
will,
budget
absolutely.
for next
And-
year? I mean,
Yes, ma'am, we'll make the
Again,
corrections.
it's one of those, it's, the money's there, the operational, we need to make the adjustment.
But here's my thing. I'm looking at the detail on 223 for Ben Franklin, for example.
Yes, sir.
I look at the 101. I'm not looking at the 101. How does it get to 190?
That is operations included, sir.
What
So the-
operation, sir?
The operations of the facility. So you have, if you look down, you have some of your resources that are needed, which are the tools to run the park, the cutting, the mowing, some of the backpack blowers that you need to keep the courts clean.
You been there? At
Yes,
that
sir,
park?
I have. We share it with the middle school, elementary school.
Okay.
That we pick up the services at 4:30 p.m.
Let
So-
me, Mr. Director, let me ask you this. Again, this is why it's confusing. Number 301, why is it showing under this when there's a 2-something that's already showing under Parks and Rec? Okay, you see the page when we talk about there was 200, there's 230-something thousand that's allocated to those 100. So I'm assuming those 100 are allocation throughout all the parks, no?
That 239 that you see next to that statement, that's an objective statement. That's kind of just a descriptive. Parks admin operates over blanket number things. It is not a
Include
statement describing-
salaries.
Yeah, it's not describing
Oh, Lord.
what is.
Okay.
It's not funding what's described in that
Okay.
objective statement.
All right, okay, that's
why
clear
I
to
wanted
clarify.
that it was an objective statement and not
Got it.
a description, a line item description.
But is it clear that at Ben Franklin you have 3 employees, 1 full-time and 2 part-time, right?
at Ben Franklin, you have a full-time recreation specialist,
That's fine.
and you have additional part-time employees
Okay.
that are there throughout the week.
Throughout the
Um,
week.
For Ben Franklin, you have hours, so it is broken down by hours. You have 52 weeks in the year, and you have 42 hours that's designated at that facility for each week. So it's a combination of things. I can't give you an absolute number
Number.
of how many employees, but there's a number of time that needs to be there because of the soccer programs, the weekend rentals that are there, and different events that take place at Ben Franklin.
When you have a youth sports, it's for the entire city,
Yes, sir.
not just for one part.
All of our youth sports are for the entire city of North Miami.
Mr. Director, also, in reference to the operation of these parks, it just doesn't add up when you, I guess, when you add all of these, I guess 2 part-time, and I guess that's where you get the 190. It's just a little bit high. Okay, in case of Sasso Pool, no, we're not at Sasso Pool yet, Cagney. There's no building there. What do you mean, don't worry about Sasso? Cagney, there's no building there, so who do we have that's working there?
You do have a facility at Cagney Park.
Where?
There's at the cafeteria. You know where the cafeteria is in high school?
Of the school?
Yes, we have a small office space there on the premises.
Wait a minute, wait, no, this is serious. How resident, if I don't know, how they supposed to know inside the school that's closed at night that we have somebody in there?
I do know.
Well, of course, that's, I would hope, you know. So you have one person there doing what?
But for safety reason, you
Oh,
know,
for safety.
you know, at Cagney, you have
If I
two,
may,
three-
if
No,
I
no,
may,
you-
Councilman.
Yes, sir.
You're not there in the afternoon. During
Yes, sir.
school year,
Yes,
you have
sir.
300-400 people playing basketball and doing athletic activities at Cagney Park. That's
Okay.
when you need a full-time employee. As a
No,
matter of
I
fact,
was
I hope
wondering.
that at night between 8 and 9, when we're about to close,
Mm-hmm.
if an officer can be around with the light on, so those kids can know they need to go, they need to leave Cagney.
Which
we
we
do have a
have.
lot of people there.
We've been working,
Doing
Councilman is
doing that.
correct.
Okay,
There is a
but-
full-time staff. being
Gotcha.
It's
there.
acceptable for the amount of people.
Page one,
I don't know about Ben
219,
Franklin.
sir. What about Ben Franklin? No, at least we have a little building that people could go and knock on the door, but now you're talking about the cafeteria, okay. It's just, it's a lot that we could cut here if we're looking at cutting. 219, what is this Cagney Gymnasium? Where is that?
The basketball.
The old high,
What?
correct. The old high school, we refurbished the gymnasium that was there. Currently, it's on the north side of 135. That's Cagney North. So you have a Cagney South, which is where the high school currently resides, with the field and the basketball court, and on Cagney
The old
North.
gym?
The old gym is still now, was refurbished. It is a gym that is very active. We have volleyball that goes on there. You have basketball.
And
The high school-
it's open to the city.
Yes.
Okay, let me
4
ask you
p.m.
this question.
From 4 p.m. to 9
I got you.
on school days.
My-
days.
My question is, so there's $95,000 for the opening of that?
That's for the operation.
Of
sir.
that.
For the operation of the gymnasium, correct.
Already.
No, but no.
Okay.
Let me mention that.
No, no, we
That's
can
one
move.
of the stadium with a lot of activities. You need to pass around 4 o'clock to
No,
see
I
how
know.
many cars are on
Listen,
the field.
they taking them from my district to your district, so I know.
I'm more
Trust
pe-
me.
No,
I know.
we're
Trust
talking
me.
about the other one, the
Let's move
basketball
on.
field.
The
Not the
22,
football.
22. Well, that too.
Well, you-
Page 222. Okay, we already discussed that. 233. And I'm wrapping up because some of these I will discuss with
no,
you.
I'm doing it with you. That's when it's easy. We do.
Yeah, no, okay. Sasso Pool.
Don't worry about it.
I know you said don't worry about it. You heard that, Miss Hill? Okay.
For him, that's
Okay, Mr. Manager.
so.
We have had so many folks regarding that one pool in the city. And do we have anything for Sasso Pool, which I had numerous conversation with Derek. So, Mr. Corker, part of your supplemental, do you put the repair of the Cecil Pool, which should have been done 2 years ago?
We did have supplementals in 2 years ago.
Terry took it out?
Which was, no, you guys did fund us for roughly, I believe it was $325,000 that went to resurfacing the pool deck, the bathrooms, retiling and new fixtures in the restroom facilities, new shade awnings, new covers for the pool and pool lanes. There is still some work to be done, which is the cupping
There's
of the
still-
pool. Correct.
There's a lot.
The cupping of the pool. There is some ceiling damage.
Here's the problem, and this is not you, Derek. Looking at this and in all of the salary, the folks, which I don't really care. What I do care about is what the residents are getting. And we got one pool in this city. If I don't hear from Ms. Hill on a weekly basis and other residents, it's not a good week. The fact that this was not a priority, that's just to show you where you guys look and prioritize the community versus us. And it's a shame. Let me say this. This should have been the first priority of all of our parks, Keystone, Pepper, all of them. Now I'm learning that we use the gymnasium, which I did not even know. You know, all these different things.
Gymnasium.
No, the gymnasium at Cagney North, the basketball inside. That pool, the towel is a mess. The kids, the upgrading, the bathroom. You said the bathroom was done? That's a shame. So, Mr. Manager, we need to address that in this budget. And it's sad. It's sad. I have plenty more, but I'm gonna go ahead and because I didn't even get to, well, no, I do have to talk about MOCA. Because the others were kind of okay. From housing, I want to talk to you about housing, Mr. Manager, building and zoning, code enforcement, transportation. I'll jump back and forth. But MOCA, there's a big problem, and I think we got to be transparent about this particular issue. On page 311, if you look at page 311, you would assume, and I know what's the explanation. I don't really like it. We need to fix it. It would assume that we are only funding one position. And then when you turn the page over, I'll be like, oh, okay, that's it, that's fine. It's down 33%, that's fine. And then when you turn the page over, all of these directors, we adding one new director at MOCA? Okay, so it's always, assistant director, I mean. It's always two? It's always been two directors. Assistant directors, I'm sorry. So, but that reflected on page 314. So we need to do something where it's not misleading, although it's there, but it would give me the impression, looking at this budget, I'm funding the director, where we are funding everyone else is almost $730,000.
And if you will allow me to put on the record that money, the explanation that you got earlier, which is the way we fund MOCA as basically like a grant. So their detail is basically, it's only one line item.
Okay.
The reason why the MOCA director shows is because the MOCA director is the city employee and not a MOCA Inc.
I know,
employee.
but in the sake of budget for transparency.
We can make that change.
Yeah,
I don't
we got to.
It is, I
Because-
mean, I know we
Yeah, I know what you're
detail
saying.
we detail it in the,
Yeah.
on page
No, on page
314,
314, it's there, but
we can make that adjustment.
because if you don't know, you be like, oh, okay, the city, and then you look at it. That's basically that. So that was it, Mr. Mayor. For now. So I'm
I have a
good.
quick question about
Thank
MOCA
you.
before I pass it over. That's been, how much total in the budget for MOCA?
1.4 million, right?
Yeah, 1.4.
1.4 million.
Total.
1.4 million.
Operation and everything. Now, do we get grant coming in? Yes, we do. What do you do? Did you deduct that from?
No, so they need additional dollars to operate
On
the
top
musician,
of-
on top of this.
How much do you anticipate in grants? Last year, how much did you get from last year, as far as grants? But she wasn't there last year, she don't know. Oh, she may have the number.
She may have, she's coming.
I got 12.
My question,
Good evening.
did you add any grant from last year?
My name is Shauna Sheldon, Executive Director of MOCA.
Okay. Did you receive any grants last year?
We did.
How much it is? About,
Around 700,000.
around 700,000. And it been added to the operation. How much do you anticipate this year as far as grants?
We anticipate it to be reduced now that we are
Reduce
working
or
on
more?
funding. Reduced as we are rebuilding and rebuilding the board and memberships and fundraising more actively now.
Right, so we have to, part of the strategic plan, if you will, for the museum, is to systematically start shifting its reliance on the city's contribution and relying on the patronage of the museum. So Shauna, Team Plus Development Assistant Director, will be charged with making that happen.
We get to make sure we shift from
Correct.
the general fund to only funded
to
grants.
funding, private funding. And they'll still get grants. Grant opportunities come up as they come. I know the county mayor and the director of cultural affairs, Michael Spring, has given me their personal commitments to increase our allocation because they know what we're doing. They know our vision and moving the museum
As far as
forward.
the county, it seems like we more worry sometimes when it's budget year for the state, but we don't pay attention to the county working
We're getting money
right
from the
now.
county.
Yes.
No, not just for MOCA, I'm talking
Okay.
about.
Oh, in
I'm talking about
general.
In general. We haven't
you kn-
focused on the county.
You're I have to admit, you're right. I think for me, and I'm gonna speak to my time here, we've been focused on kind of fighting, if you will, a little bit on CRA and other issues. But we can definitely look into, working with Chief of Staff, look into some of the opportunities, working with our district commissioners on funding. They do send us from time to time information, but a lot of it applies to, CBOs that are in the city or, businesses that will be, supplemented. But I'll certainly work with our two commissioners' offices to see what opportunities are available.
As far as the certification, where we at with MOCA?
MOCA is currently under review by the accreditation. We remain an accredited museum.
Okay.
this time.
When we're gonna get the final approval, whether or not we're gonna be
We
approved for the
will-
upcoming year?
We will remain under review for another year.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
No,
I haven't gone yet.
no, it's,
All right, I'll try to go quickly. I think that we could have benefited as a council from getting the budget earlier than we did. We got it less than a week ago. That's a very, very short turnaround time. Likewise, there used to be what they called a manager's message at the front of it that sort of synopsized it, sort of spelled out your vision and then synopsized what was happening in different departments. I think I could have benefited from that to just sort of get I relied this year on my historical knowledge on numbers and what they all mean, but if I was sitting here for the very first time, I would have been absolutely lost in how much the budget is, what things have changed, et cetera, et cetera. So for future reference, I think it would be great if we had a narrative that went along with the actual budget. We talked a lot about police officers and number of police officers tonight. How many police officers are we actually getting?
bodies, not shift.
It would be the 25. It's 25 bodies.
So, I mean, that is spectacular if it's factually true, because
It
that's
is
sort of where I
factually,
was
it's
getting the
25
idea.
bodies.
If North Miami is adding 25 new officers, that's like a
Should be
quarter of our.
breaking news.
Right, that should be like screaming headlines everywhere, because that's a quarter of our force. That's,
Oh, okay.
so,
So he's 25 plus 8 for the schools.
I mean, that's just like,
Can you confirm that?
we should
Chief?
all be like jumping out of our chairs right
Can you
now, because
confirm what,
we're.
what the
But
city manager
the
said?
distribution
Yes,
of
the
them
city
doesn't
manager is
reach
accurate on that.
residents.
So
Meaning, okay, go ahead.
25 new officers plus 8 in the schools, that's 32 plus officers. I'll say this, and Councilman DeSul might not, we need to break out
Yeah.
some figures for the census and stuff like that. District 1 has now more residents than District 4 does, and this is something we have to be mindful of, because our charter in creating the districts does call for an equitable distribution.
Yeah.
So when 2020 rolls around, if there are in fact 8,000 new people at Solomia, District 1 now has too many people, and we need to redraw, sorry guys, we're gonna need to redraw districts to accommodate
to
for
be
that,
equal.
because it has to be a quarter, give or take a few hundred or 1,000 or something like that. So, from my standpoint, and I defer to the chief, but I don't have any problem if an extra officer or two, so to speak, has to go to other districts.
No,
Because.
it's okay.
Right.
We'll manage.
District 1 for a long time has been a donor district. Most when it comes to tax revenue, and now with Solomia kicking in, it's even more of the donor district. I don't have any problem sharing the wealth, so to speak, because it's all one city. So, if there's a way to make everybody happy, you won't get any blowback from me. I get it that if we've got 8,000 new people coming, that's gonna, change what you need to dedicate for resources. But I applaud the police department that you're talking about bringing in 32 new officers. That is stunning, because we've sat up here and argued over 1 or 2 new officers over the years. That I'm absolutely blown away. So thank you for that.
Can I say a question? Can I
Sure,
just?
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. As for the police, you're telling me you're gonna hire for the fiscal year 2018-19, 33 new officers. Is it
Our goal
correct?
is even more than that with the 7 remaining open positions, Councilman. And I'll give my own plug here. Please, each one of you reach out to us September 13th. We have our open house, first time ever, for all the part-time as well as full-time police officers.
When you think you will be able to complete the hiring of those 33? About Anderson?
It's a difficult proposition. We're
Yeah.
going to do our best to bring in as many as we can during
Okay.
the next
But
fiscal
the
year.
money is there.
Yeah, the money will be there, and I was straight with you before. Honestly, even when, and this is not the school board, when the superintendent said, and Larry and I had this discussion, oh, they're gonna hire 100 officers. My entire career at the city of Miami, we were down 100 officers and we tried everything, billboards, everything, and never was able to accomplish it. We got it in the budget because it was a priority here, and we're gonna do everything we can to make it happen. But my honest opinion, it's gonna take
Time. I
a
understand.
lot of time.
As far as cars, as far as cars for the officers, so you have that in the budget.
That's
also?
included in the budget, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Garland.
Sure. I'm going to turn the page now. Thank you, Chief. Turn the page now to events. As a group, we all decided coming into this budget year that we needed to do fewer events because it's just gotten to be overwhelming. Where do I see changes to our events, procedures, and dollars and things like that?
Where's that? It's in parks, right?
68 in Parks, I'll tell you the pages just a second. 478.
When you turn there, as he's pulling up 478, as you turn there, what we did, because I knew we were gonna have this discussion, we have some names associated with dollar amounts, but I wanted you, and with the folks I've been able to brief, I've stated, just look at the dollar amount. You
Right.
guys tell us how you want it.
Let me ask my question
Right,
more clearly.
right.
How much dollars did we put toward events last year? How many dollars are we putting toward events this year?
It's page 289, and you'll see a $210,000 reduction.
$210,000 reduction?
Right.
Hold on, if I
Page-
wasn't already up out of my seat, you guys are
Page
putting springs on my
289.
behind. No. Yeah, no pun intended. So we're reducing events by $210,000.
That's correct.
Awesome. All right, now let me ask about affordable housing. Sure, defer to the councilman.
reduce that, but no money was allocated for Tropical 9.
No, remember, we again, I wanted to make sure you guys decide.
Oh, sorry.
We wanted to just we had the reduction because we knew that was a discussion that the board had previously had. I wanted to allow you guys the opportunity to tell us which events were priority. So as we continue tonight and through the rest of the budget process, I will, you know, have my individual meetings to get some priorities as well as the discussion here. So
Okay.
You didn't
Okay.
you didn't take away Thanksgiving parade or 4th of July?
that's not our intent. Yeah, no, that wasn't our
Okay.
intent.
Cool. Now on to affordable housing. Are there dollars in here or a program in place for some sort of developer fees that we could, I mean, I know the legislation, I'm figuring out how we might, and I haven't had conversations with you yet, Larry, to decide how we can get developers to pay into a fund that is used to provide for affordable housing. I guess that wouldn't be in the budget right now, but
Correct.
is there anything related to affordable housing that is in here?
The only things, and I think they'd be in the special revenue funds, would be our CDBG dollars that we already have book program for housing initiatives. You will also have the CRA amount, and that's for, what is it? 480? 540, so $500,000 there. And so those two major pots that we have, and then, you know, we've been kind of trying to think creatively internally. That will take the form of maybe a different type of financing program or a public-private partnership. I think you already know we have the Rux Park project that's coming forth, which again will be an engagement. So we have some initiatives that we're anticipating for the year.
There is something, Councilman Garland. You remember we passed a resolution about the community action plan for any contract vendors
Right.
with contract over $500,000? We can
250.
use 250. We can use that plan like.
So we can,
to
as
fund it out.
we go through
Yeah,
the
and
operational
affordable
year,
housing
and we
type of-
say, here's janitorial or whatever, they have to give us a community benefits plan. Part of that community benefits plan
Could be good.
could be, hey, make a contribution of 50,000 into the fund. The other thing I know we've conceptually talked about it is, and it's via land development regulations, is looking at, and I know this is a real touchy subject, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Parking variances, perhaps density variances, where if we allow for those bonuses, the developer would have to pay money, and you go to the county and other cities,
Yeah.
it's significant
Yeah,
money. It's not like 50,000. It
Right.
could be millions of dollars
Right.
for a project, depending on the size and scope. So those are things, they're not there because you haven't passed the policy yet, but those are things that we can quickly get policy approved and instituted, and then it's a discussion with the development community.
cool, thank you. Sea level rise, is there any dollars in here that address sea level rise?
We have what are the sustainability?
There's not necessarily specific to sea level rise, but there is $1 million budgeted for stormwater to work on another basin project at Arch Creek.
What, give me more information about that. That's an expensive project. What would that project look like? And do you know what page it's on here in the budget?
Public Works.
It's actually the presentation. It outlined it in the presentation on one of the tabs.
In here?
Good evening, Worcester Pierre Lewis, Public Works Director. You may remember Daphne Campbell and
I remember her.
Roy Hardiman. They recently
I remember him
came. They came and presented checks for about $500,000 for grant funds.
Right.
So we had a project that was designed a few years ago, which we haven't been able to construct. We finally have received grant funds to actually install or construct that project. This is in the Arch Creek Basin, which we know is a basin which has been studied to have issues as far as flooding or drainage, and that's what it entails. It's the traditional
Right.
French drain catch basin
Okay.
type of drainage project.
Okay. I'm going to go over the budget itself with more of a fine-tooth comb. I think we need to have something more substantive to, I didn't get a chance to reach out to one of my friends who lives on Laurel Lane to see how she did yesterday with the storm surge or whatever. But, you know, I know we've talked about putting balloons in the drains to bladders
Plugs,
to sort of try to expand, to keep flooding out. that we have something that's more comprehensive, and we have to start looking toward the future, you know, even though it's not today, a lot of the problems we have today could have been foreseen 10 years ago. We need to have something more financially in place to build higher seawalls, to, you know, any number of other things that.
So
we're
I
gonna
think
have to
the
face.
best starting point for our discussion, and I'll send it to everybody, we have the list of all of the sustainability
The
projects.
$57 million plan.
Yeah. So, but, you know,
For the
dealt
action.
with our sustainability staff. Send that out to you guys so you can look at those projects. Now, as you know, some of that was intended to be funded via the bond initiative, but we can start working from that list and say, all right, put 100,000 here, or, you know, start an initiative. I also have, through the floodplain staff, they're looking at repetitive loss
Yeah.
mitigation via perhaps HUD funding, perhaps CRA funding, or some other outside like FEMA grants. They've studied some projects in other areas of the country and how they've converted what was a house into a park. So then it becomes you know, you can flood the park, you know, for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, it'll dry up, and then you can still use it as a passive park.
I know that we
So-
purchased X number of repetitive loss properties not too long ago. Maybe it's been 2 or 3 years. And I've asked through you to, I think it was Miguel, to compile a list of city-owned properties. And I don't mean properties like City Hall, but I would love to know how many properties we own that are repetitive loss that we should just
Right.
designate as sloughs, and how many are just sort of single-family home areas that we might now sell to a developer for the purpose of building affordable housing. Even if it's just a house or two, that's 1 or 2 more families that's not struggling.
That's coming.
We
That
we asked
resolution
that
coming.
we talked about that for like
Actually,
an inventory of the city.
yes, sir.
properties.
Councilman Bieneme has already asked us to sponsor, he's asked to sponsor a resolution to, I guess, to sell all those type of city-owned properties.
Well, so I've been asking for a
It-
list of them
it's
for
to-
5
I
months.
use the word sell, but it's to
What do you mean,
dispose.
sell?
You all will get
We
a
need to find out
resolution,
what we have
and you'll
and see
determine how
we're
you
gonna
want
sell
to
them.
Yes.
dispose
That's
of those
what I said.
properties.
Okay,
Sell,
wait.
It
whatever.
sounds like he and I are on the same page and
Yeah,
not
that's
knowing
what it is.
Yes.
But
He
let
said
me ask you a
exactly.
question.
We're not just talking about selling.
on.
First of all, we want to know what do we have available.
Can,
Right.
can I,
Do you know there is property that we don't know
I
belong to
know.
the city?
I
You
know.
don't know. You
Well,
not.
the list that I got, the attorney sent me a list,
not
and
this-
unless it's not updated, but I know. Right, Mr. Attorney? There's a list you
You are
sent me, I
trying
know.
to foreclose on a property, then we find out that belong to the city.
Yeah,
No, I know.
I don't know that I've seen the final list yet, because
Okay.
the list I keep seeing, they have things like City Hall on them. So we've asked.
No, but,
Right, I
wait
saw
a
a
minute.
list like
Yeah,
that,
it's,
yeah.
it's a list like that, but I think it's finance that's working on
The-
finding that.
there
and
is
that'll
a
be
list.
That'll be brought to
There
you
is
with
no-
the resolution.
You've been
May I-
speaking
may I
this.
say
What
you
would
have a
be-
lease. You said you have a lease.
yeah, we bought, I think it was about 8 years ago, we bought several properties.
Yeah.
During the floodplain. We bought repetitive loss properties, and we've turned them into little lots, but before we decide that,
Bless you.
before we decide that we're going to sell them and develop them, we may want to make sure from the experts that they shouldn't be left as vacant land.
Yeah.
As a catch-all. You're not, I mean, that's the purpose, is to catch the water, not to put another structure on it. So
Right.
we do need to make sure before we start selling, developing, that they shouldn't be left natural as a basin to
But
catch.
what I was asking, it's the policy and procedure how to sell them. Since we did not have
But
that,
we may need to
I
keep
asked
them as.
That's what I'm
no,
saying.
I asked them first of all to get the inventory, know exactly what do we have, and then mayor and council will decide what we're gonna do with
Well,
each of them.
Well, I hope we get some,
Because we-
specialist experts telling us whether they
Yes.
should
Yeah.
be developed or left vacant.
Because our main thing was how we could build affordable housing. That was the main purpose of
Two
that.
things I'm really big on right now are affordable housing and sea level rise, and they're both tied into this vacant lot situation, because we can help sea level rise by taking low-lying properties and designating them as sloughs. We can help affordable housing by taking others and letting somebody put a property on them.
Well,
Councilman, through the city manager, Steve Pizzola, building official, I'm also your new CRS coordinator. We're working on a bunch of this stuff, which you're gonna be seeing after budget season. There's a whole bunch of programs we're hashing out right now. So we are working on it.